Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the JASMY price, because really over the last few days I've been taking note of what the community is up to. And I will say that this is the most divided the community has ever been. A lot of people are complaining about the fundamentals of the project, are complaining about the team not communicating much. A lot of obviously, spreading doubt and FUD over a potential Binance delisting, but that's actually something that has been there for the last 2 years here for JASMY, and within that time we have also seen the JASMY price that go on to do close to a 20x here. So for me, that's a non-factor, but what I want to do in this video is I want to show you what exactly the facts are here for JASMY. What really drives the JASMY price? Is it really about the fundamentals of the project? Because for I myself, I've never been one to say, okay, this is technology that is really revolutionizing anything or and something like that. Really, the reason why I am into JASMY is because of the chart. The chart looks great to me. A lot of people will disagree, obviously, I know. They will just one and point that, okay, look, this is something that is crashed minus 99% before. But also they don't take into consideration that, look, if you have been in JASMY over the last 3 years or something like that, from, the bottom, where at some point you hit something like a 20x or 23x. I mean, in terms of the gains, and even still today where the price is from the very bottom of the bear market, you're still up right around the 400%. Not many altcoins can go ahead and claim something like that. So technically speaking, from my side, I don't see anything wrong here with the JASMY price. But the main, issue with people today is how long this thing has taken. I think a lot of people are capitulating because they are tired, right? The patience has totally run out here. So that's why you see a lot of excuses like, okay, the team is not really communicating well, the project has not developed and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm not defending any of them, right? If anything, I'm actually much more, loyal to the JASMY community, which means you and the other person watching this video, because at least we're on the same page by there, right? We want to be making money from JASMY, not the team itself. I really don't know what they're up to, but one thing that I can understand is what the data is saying here for the JASMY price. Look, I don't want to run my mouth too much, but let me get straight into what the data is saying here for JASMY and show you what really moves the price. So we are seeing the JASMY price right here. It looks like it exists in a bubble. However, if we just go ahead here and take a look at what Ethereum is doing and relative to what JASMY does, maybe you can have a better understanding. We can go ahead and use the Maxi chart, for example. And what we are realizing here is that JASMY just happens to move step by step with Ethereum, right? They literally move in tandem. Of course, JASMY, when Ethereum is pumping towards the upside, pumps more, but of course when Ethereum also dumps, JASMY happens to dump a little bit much more, right? So tell me, what is this correlation having to do with what the team is doing or the fundamentals of the project? Nothing at all. Just take a look at this one more time. What you see, in yellow and whatever the color may be is JASMY, and what you see here right on top is Ethereum. Take a look at how these things have actually been moving in tandem over the last few years. So these are just the market dynamics in the current, crypto market that we happen to be living in, and it has nothing to do with what the project does. It has nothing to do with what the team does. It's all about liquidity. JASMY happens to be an ERC20 token, so its liquidity pools are actually based in Ethereum. So if Ethereum goes up by, like, say 5%, automatically JASMY also goes up by a certain amount. We're not even taking into consideration the demand of the JASMY token itself. Of course, on the flip side, just as I talked about, if also Ethereum drops a little bit, remember, JASMY has got liquidity pools in Ethereum, so that also means that we're going to be seeing a drop in JASMY without any selling pressure happening here on the JASMY price. So this is what has been happening all along. JASMY just moves according to what Ethereum does, nothing to do with the team or anything like that. Because if it was all about the project and the team here for JASMY, we would have been seeing a totally different chart compared to what Ethereum does here. But I think you can see the driver of the price here for JASMY is Ethereum. Now, this actually brings me to my second point, because we have to understand what Ethereum is looking like, right? Now, the question is, like, is Ethereum bullish here? Because, that's very important in terms of pumping JASMY. And I think I've got great news for you here, because I've been looking at the Ethereum chart for quite some time right now, and it's looking great, honestly speaking. Yeah, that is also one chart that has been drawn out and a lot of people have given up on it. But for me, this thing is looking great. So if we take a look at the immediate short-term price section, as we can see here, we have had this drop and obviously a retrace. Now it appears as if we're ranging and trying to accumulate the price here. In the next coming few days and weeks, I'm expecting Ethereum to break out of this range here and start pushing towards the upside. And of course, remember what we talked about the JASMY price, that the main driver for the JASMY price, that is Ethereum. If we see Ethereum here, which is more likely, in my humble opinion, to start breaking out, be rest assured that JASMY is also just going to be doing well. And let me get back to the JASMY price one more time, because we also have like an okay setup right there, immediate short term on the 1 hourly time frame. I actually came across it by mistake, I would say, and this happens to be a falling wedge. Now what we know about falling wedges is that, you know, more likely than not, they have got a 66% chance of going on to hit their price target, right? Now the price targets happens to be the top of the wedge right there, so we're expecting somewhat of a 20% here for JASMY immediate short term. I mean, this is the 1 hourly time frame, nothing pretty much there, but I think it also completes a certain bottoming structure that we have seen time and again in the market. So we have got confluence, we're seeing some kind of a bottom forming out here for JASMY, and then we're also seeing that Ethereum, it may be ranging as it's looking like, and that also has got a direct influence on the JASMY price set. Now, if we actually go ahead and take a look at what Quant has been doing over the last few years here, as I said, I came across this pattern by mistake, but this is exactly the same thing that the JASMY price set is doing. If you take a look at how this thing has actually worked just in this phase here, this is a daily chart obviously on Quant, but if you come to JASMY here on the 1 hourly time frame, you're seeing the same thing repeating, right? This is a pattern that we have seen time and again, because again, you know, market makers at some point, they run out of new ideas, right? They just, you know, rinse and repeat the same things time and again. So just as Quant was doing right there, I think, yes, it's fair to anticipate that JASMY can go ahead and start reclaiming things like 1.5 cents, 1.6 cents right there. This obviously is not the end, because you're only talking about a 25% in terms of the price pushing. The main thing that we are looking for here in terms of like a huge breakout for JASMY is how Ethereum is going to be doing. And just as I said, I'm actually on the side that I think Ethereum is going to be breaking into a new all-time high actually, and be rest assured that JASMY can go ahead and outperform that. So this is what the data is actually saying. And if you think that, you know, my analysis is wrong, I mean, show me a chart that suggests otherwise, but let me show you that one more time. This is our Ethereum price chart, and should we add JASMY to that, you can see a perfect one-on-one correlation right there. I think everybody who has eyes can actually see what's happening right there. Now, on top of that, if we also just try to figure out what global markets are looking like here, we'll take a look at maybe something like the Russell 2000, which is an index in the United States, and this actually has been one that is very much correlated to Ethereum, and you can see they basically move 1:1. So in an indirect relationship, we can also say that JASMY pretty much is also correlated to the Russell 2000. That translates JASMY being correlated to global financial markets. So it's not like JASMY is existing in a bubble, or its team has to do something special to make everybody happy or anything like that. No, this is just global liquidity shifting from one asset to the next one. So right now we are in a phase in which the market is totally lost. Everybody has kind of given up. There are no new market participants coming in right now. They're just waiting to see some kind of, you know, great price action. But unfortunately for them, it's going to be late, and obviously, you know, likely you are the person who is going to be dumping on them because you have bought JASMY way earlier than them. So please understand that, look, for JASMY to do well here, we don't need any news from Hara. At least don't need any news from her. I don't care about what the JASMY project is all about, because I've never been able to understand it anyway. But what I understand here is global liquidity. Look at how the stock market is correlated to Ethereum right there, and look at how Ethereum is correlated to JASMY. If we could do that, maybe we can go ahead and take a look at JASMY and put it in a different color altogether. I'm colorblind myself, so I don't know which color I'm going to be picking, but let me go ahead and pick something that is just different. Let's go ahead and pick white, and of course, you know, just put this thing on the log scale, and you can see exactly how JASMY also just moves along with the rest of the market. So it is what it is here for JASMY. Nothing to do with the team or the project. It's all about where the global liquidity is. So for me, myself, I'm not really worried about anything. I'm just looking and waiting to see what the bigger guys, I mean like Ethereum and the stock market will do in the coming few days. But anyway, I think you get the point right at this point. So still very much bullish on JASMY. I'm personally pumped about what's going to be coming next year. Just waiting for Ethereum to do its thing, which I believe is going to be getting into a new all-time high. $7,000 is one price target that I have. $12,000 is also another one, up to $17,000 in that period. Yeah, I'm expecting JASMY to go even as high as something like 23 cents. 32 cents is like the best price target that I have for JASMY. But of course, at times the market will not understand, and there is a lot of finger pointing that happens when the market becomes a little bit boring. But for me, I'm looking at the data, and I don't know if you could understand the same thing that I'm understanding, that this market are very much correlated together, and one thing is to move so that the other one follows. I really hope you get where I'm coming from, but I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family, and then of course I'll see you on the next one. Take really good care of yourselves. Bye bye.